Hi, today we're going to continue our monitor review series by taking a look at the GeChic 1102. This is a very different monitor than any monitor that we have tested so far, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it works. So let's start.
The following review is part of our ongoing monitor review series here on LensVid, which started with the smallHD focus, but this one is actually a little bit different. The GeChic 1102 is not a dedicated video monitor, but taking into consideration its size, price, and feature set, we believe that some photographers and videographers might be interested in it. Let's start with the build quality and feature set of this monitor. The GeChick is made from plastic, but the optional vessel plate that you can use to hang it is fully metal, as is the plate that is used to connect it to a light stand or a tripod. The unit measures 29 centimeters, 11.6 inches over 19 centimeters, 7.5 inches, which makes up for an 11.6 inches diagonal screen. The bezel is kind of thick, half an inch on the sides and a full inch on the lower part, but this isn't too bad in case you need to handhold it. The screen weighs 480 grams or 16.9 ounces, making it very lightweight for its size. The 1102 is unique compared to any video dedicated monitor that we know of in that it comes with a 7800 mAh lithium polymer battery built in. The screen has several connections, including a micro USB for power. The unit comes with a dual USB-A cable for charging faster from lower power sources such as a computer or USB power banks, while for AC you will only need one connected to a supplied wall charger. The unit also has a micro HDMI connector, and it comes with different HDMI cable, micro to full HDMI and micro to mini HDMI, although we had to use an adapter for micro HDMI to micro HDMI, which is what our Sony a6500 uses. There is a second micro HDMI connection which has a VGA marking on it, but we were not able to make it work as a second HDMI input. The screen does have a headphone jack, which is nice, as well as two speakers on the top, which are significantly more powerful than most camera speakers or speakers on video monitors, which is nice, although we do suggest that you use headphones whenever you can. The only other connector is a Kensington security slot if you want to lock the monitor. The GeChick uses a 1080p IPS panel with a 300 nits brightness and an 800:1 contrast ratio, very decent viewing angle, and an okay visibility during daytime, although working in direct sunlight will be difficult. The unit has 5 small buttons on the right side, including an on-off button, brightness, which didn't seem to do much, menu or OK, and an up and down button, or in some menus, left and right button. As we will see later, working with these buttons and menus takes some use to, but for the most part you don't need to use them. The GeChick has quite a few mounting options, which sets it apart from most video monitors. It includes a flexible desk stand, an optional metal VESA mount, and what is probably the most relevant for photographers and videographers, a metal bracket with a very thin 1/4" 20 thread on the bottom. We would actually prefer a more substantial base that can hold a quick release plate without turning. So how does this monitor actually performs? Since the smallHD focus has no HDMI output and the two next monitors that we will be testing here did not arrive yet, we had to connect the monitor directly into the camera and not daisy chain it like we would probably do otherwise. We can't really recommend working with this display as a primary monitor. It wasn't designed for that. It has no video assist features, not even one-to-one magnification, which we feel is an essential bare minimum for a primary video monitor. Plus, we didn't find the colors to be extremely accurate, and they do tend to be a bit too warm for the most part, although you can manually calibrate them and you have a few options for that. For assessing composition and framing though, this isn't a bad monitor, and you can even work with it outdoors to a degree, although it has no sun hood, so direct sunlight will probably not work. We love the idea of a built-in battery in such a small and light panel at this monitor size. Any similarly sized dedicated video monitor will require a large and heavy batteries for several hours of use time, and the GeChick was able to go for almost 3 hours on the internal battery alone on our testing, and with the ability to charge it from dual port USB power bank, it just becomes that much more versatile. What we didn't really like about it are the bottoms and the interface. The bottom seems too small and too close together, and more often than not we found ourselves pressing the wrong one by mistake, plus the whole interface feels a bit cumbersome and unnatural. The power button in particular acts very strangely and didn't always power the monitor, especially without an HDMI cable attached, and we had to press it several times. This seems like a software and not a hardware thing, mind you. The monitor's different mounting options are a great bonus and can be very helpful for different use cases, putting the monitor on a table, next to a laptop, or on a stand, or even on a tripod. You can connect it over your camera, but we would not recommend this since this isn't meant to be a primary monitor and it is too big anyway. Our only concern here is that you need to use very tiny screws which don't always seem to connect well to the thin monitor, and as we have mentioned before, the 1/4 inch 20 bracket is way too thin and doesn't hold our RC2 plate without spinning. So let's conclude this review. The GeChick is a very versatile monitor. At almost 12 inches, it is much larger than most videography dedicated monitors, but still very lightweight and portable, and since it includes a built-in battery and can be powered using USB power bank, you really don't need to worry too much about power. The monitor performs pretty well outdoors, has pretty good viewing angles, and can be very useful for assessing composition and framing. It does have some quirks though. It doesn't seem to like to power on without an HDMI cable attached, and navigating the menus can be a bit tricky. More importantly, for video work, the colors of this monitor tend to be on the warm side, and although you can do some manual calibration, we could not get them to be 100% accurate to our eyes. As for pricing, for a 12-inch IPS monitor that has its own battery, paying just under $300 seems like a really great price, especially if you consider using it as a secondary monitor for some on-the-go work with your laptop. So our bottom line here seems very simple. If you're looking for a second or even third large monitor to be used for a client, talent, or even a director's monitor at a bench and can live with a few quirks, the GeChick 1102 is a pretty attractive option.
So that was our look at the GeChick 1102 monitor. Very interesting monitor indeed. You can read the full review on lensvid.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find a lot more videos just like this. See you next time.